You've heard of a rags to riches story, but how about a riches to rags one? Like and subscribe to hear my reverse Cinderella story. Hi MSA Nation, my name is Patricia, but since we're friends, you can call me Trisha, but not Patty. I hate Patty. Growing up, I was extremely rich, like next level rich, like Oprah meets Rihanna meets King Charles rich. It was all thanks to my mom, who the world knew as Cheryl. She was the most impressive person I knew. She and her best friend, whose name I won't mention for reasons that will soon become clear, were business tycoons who got a ton of investors and created a huge mega corporation right out of college. Ever heard of Amazon? Their business was kind of like that. Let's call it BFF Enterprises. It employed thousands of people all across the country, and Mom and her friend reaped the rewards of their extraordinary efforts. I aspired to have a BFF like Mom's. As a VIP daughter of a VIP, I was enrolled in etiquette classes immediately. By the time I was 5, I was practically Julie Andrews. You know, the queen from the Princess Diaries, only smaller. I was treated like a princess, with people attending my every need. When I showed an interest in art, I was gifted all of the finest art supplies and was even able to practice by creating portraits of some of the coolest celebrities. I can neither confirm nor deny that those were the celebrities who I painted. Yeah, my life was pretty much perfect until someone ruined everything. One day, there was a huge commotion next door at Mom's best friend's house. All of a sudden, the door swung open and I was shocked to see Mom's bestie in handcuffs. It turned out she who must not be named, that's what I called her, had been stealing a ton of money from their company. Because of that, their business went under and thousands of people lost their jobs. To make matters worse, an angry former employee was convinced that Mom must be to blame too. He put together a whole manifesto and brought Mom to court. Fortunately, Mom was declared innocent. I knew she always would be, of course. She who must not be named was proven guilty and sent to jail. The employee who had lodged a case against Mom ended up behind bars for defamation too. Mom's name was cleared and she and I lived happily ever after. That's the end of my story. Thanks for tuning in. Just kidding. It got a whole lot worse from there. Even though she was innocent, the public knew Mom as the face of the company, and they were mad. Mom and I weren't exactly well-equipped to fight off an angry mob, so the government intervened for our safety, and we were forced to join the Witness Protection Program and completely change our identities. We were given cover stories and everything. So, remember before when I said my name was Patricia? Well, that was sort of the half-truth. I had a different name before all of this mess. A gorgeous name, but that and everything else were taken from me when she who must not be named ruined my life. I was pulled from my life of glamour and ease and relocated to here. Yeah, the house was a serious downgrade from what I was used to. See what I mean about an opposite Cinderella story? I know this is different from what we're used to. At least we still have each other. One day, we'll live in a big mansion again. I hoped she was right. In the meantime, Mom set up security cameras everywhere. She was afraid someone would somehow find out who we were and try to break in and steal whatever valuables we had left. That fall, I started up at my new school. I thought it would be a breeze. I'd never had any problems making friends before in my fancy school, back when I had money. But here, everyone was staring at me as I walked in. I felt like a total fish out of water. What, are you like from Gossip Girl or something? It got worse in the classroom. May I use the washroom? Mayhaps the princess would like a peasant to escort her. And even worse than that, in the cafeteria. Look, Gossip Girl thinks she's at a royal banquet. Here, have some slop like the rest of us, princess. I was about ready to blow my cover and demand Mom let us move back to our old life when... Hey, leave her alone. Your mama sure would be mad if I told her that this is how you minded your manners. Wow, thank you for that. Don't mention it. Someone has to show you some proper small-town hospitality. I'm Sally. Patricia. Where are you from, Patricia? I grew up in the big city with a ton of money. My paternal grandparents invented trail mix, but my dad walked out on me and my mom and took all of our riches with him. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry to hear that. We used to have more money too, but, well, it's complicated. It's hard, what with being one of 6 kids. Hey, if you'll let me, I would love to help you learn the ropes of a small-town life on a budget. Under Sally's wing, I started to really get the hang of my new life. She taught me all the tips and tricks to finding the best deals while thrift shopping. $5, final offer. The art of sandwich making. The more cold cuts, the better. Even how to use a lawnmower. She was a hoot. While all the other neighborhood kids were riding bikes, Sally would show up places driving her dad's lawnmower. And you don't need a license for this? Nope. Weirdly though, I never actually saw Sally's dad, but more on that later. Sally encouraged my painting, even if it meant using unconventional canvases. She was the most thoughtful friend I ever had. In turn, I taught Sally all about how to host a proper high tea and even how to ballroom dance. Sally was a total girly girl at heart, and I could tell she appreciated feeling like a princess for once. Over time, Sally and I became inseparable, and we especially loved taking her lawnmower out for joyrides. Hey, instead of zooming around town, why don't you put that machine to good use and mow my lawn? I'll throw you $20.
$30, final offer.
The haggling skills Sally taught me were really coming in handy, and that's how Sally and I started earning some extra cash. In the beginning, we had a handful of customers, mostly our friends' parents, who paid us to mow their lawns and rake their leaves. But then, Sally had a fabulous idea. Trisha, you're such an excellent artist. We should offer painting services too. You can even do customized designs.
Oh my gosh, Sally, you're a genius.
We showed up to the hardware store, excited to get all the materials we'd need to expand our business, but were shocked when we saw the prices.
We were in over our heads.
I went home, defeated, but then I thought of someone who just might have some good advice. Janessa, the apple certainly doesn't fall far from the tree. I'd be happy to jumpstart this business for you too. We'll finally have a new way to make money. But first, I want to see your business plan. With Mom's guidance and funding, S&T's Landscaping was born, and with her savvy advertising, our client base expanded quickly. Plus, I was having a blast customizing people's houses with my art. With Sally by my side, I was starting to finally feel at home in this small town. There was just one weird thing. Sally never invited me to her house. She always made excuses why we should meet at my place instead. Oh shoot, I totally forgot. My crazy Uncle Louie's at my house this week. He always brings all 17 of his pet chickens. We should probably just hang out at your house. I fell for it when she told me about Aunt Linda and her 6 boa constrictors, but 17 pet chickens? Yeah, right. One day, curiosity got the better of me. When Sally told me she was heading home after school, I pretended I was going to my place, but I followed her instead. What could she possibly be hiding? I followed Sally to the outskirts of town, the bad neighborhood. Whoa, Sally lives here? The trailer barely looked big enough to hold a twin bed. How could Sally and her 5 siblings and her parents even fit in there? Just then, I lost my balance and fell to the ground with a huge thud. Trisha? Sally, I can explain. I thought Sally was gonna start screaming at me, but instead, she started crying. I'm sorry I never showed you my home. It's just, well, I was embarrassed of this ugly trailer. My dad used to have an excellent job, and we had a big house and a big yard, but Dad lost his job a few years ago and ended up in jail. Ugh. If it wasn't for BFF Enterprises, we would never be in this mess. He was just trying to stand up to their evil owners, and instead Cheryl hired her cronies to make it look like Dad was lying and put him away. It felt like my stomach had dropped out of my butt. Sally's dad was the angry former employee who'd made a case against Mom. Thank goodness Sally had no idea who Mom and I actually were, thanks to our aliases and dye jobs. But why was she blaming Mom when it was really her dad who put us in this mess? I knew I shouldn't say anything or risk Sally getting suspicious, so I ran home before I put my foot in my mouth. Trisha, wait! Was it something I said? I avoided Sally the rest of the week, which wasn't easy. I felt so conflicted. Sally was my best friend, but she hated my mom and blamed her for her dad being in jail. So, I decided to get Mom's advice. I need to talk to you. Sally's dad is your angry former employee who ended up in jail. Oh, come on now, Trisha. What a strange joke. Why was Mom calling me Trisha? At home, she always called me by my real name. Mom, this is serious. Sally has no idea who I really am, or that you're actually the co-founder of BFF Enterprises. Just then, Sally popped up from behind the couch, and suddenly, Mom's behavior made sense. Sally, it's not... I can't believe this. I thought we were best friends, and all along, your family is why my family is suffering? Sally, please, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you ever again. I've heard of surprise birthday parties gone wrong, but never this badly. I probably lost my BFF forever. But Mom was more preoccupied that Sally would out us both. What are you doing? Follow her. Make sure she doesn't talk. Do whatever it takes. I hadn't seen Mom this stressed out since the trial. I tried texting, calling, even showing up at Sally's window, but she wouldn't even look at me. I returned home completely hopeless. Did it work? Will she keep quiet? She won't even talk to me.
Just then, Mom turned into a fire-breathing dragon. Well, not literally, but I'd never seen her this angry. Then we need to move again, now. But this is our home. Sally is my friend. Some friend. As soon as she talks, I'm going to jail. Mom, what are you talking about? Why would you go to jail? The judge said you were innocent. Of course he did. I bribed him. My business partner and I were both stealing funds from the investors because we deserved more. But unlike me, she was dumb enough to get caught and unwilling to do whatever it took to stay out of jail. And Sally's dad figured it all out and tried to get me behind bars too. But I showed him I am not to be messed with. I couldn't believe it. I was so blinded by all of her generosity over the years. I'd never even once suspected that she could have done anything criminal. And I felt so awful for Sally and her family. They didn't deserve this. But then again, how could I choose between my mom and my best friend? What Mom said next, though, made everything totally clear. You got us into this mess. Now you have to get us out. Me? I'm just a kid. You're the one who was so greedy that you stole money and ruined your company and all of your employees' lives. You even let your own best friend take the fall. You cared so much about money. You forgot about what really matters, friendship. Trisha, come back here. My name isn't Trisha, Mom. It's Janissa. So, let me reintroduce myself. Hi, MSA Nation. My name is actually Janissa. Pretty, right? Okay, back to the action. I grabbed the security cameras on my way out and headed straight to the police station. It had our conversation and Mom's confession recorded. The police took my mom away, and because I had just turned 18 recently, they let me take care of myself. And that night, the story was all over the news. I knew I'd done the right thing, but I'd never felt lonelier. The next morning, I woke up to a knock at the door. Sally, you have to believe me. I didn't know about my mom. She told me everything for the first time yesterday. I can't believe you did that for me, Patricia. Well, I had to. It was the right thing. I mean, sure, I probably could have bounced from town to town with Mom for years, pretending to be someone I'm not, but I don't want to be like Mom, throwing my friends under the bus and not caring about hurting other people. I would choose friendship over luxury 1,000,000 times. And by the way, my real name is Janissa. It took months, but after campaigning tirelessly, we finally got Sally's dad out of jail and back home where he belonged. With Mom behind bars, I was finally free to come out of hiding. Even though I was totally free to move back to the city, I decided to stay put in this small town. After all, this had become my home. I even asked Sally's family to move in with me. Plus, Sally's dad was able to take over the landscaping business. With him in charge, business is booming. Everyone is just so thrilled that he's back home where he belongs. We did have a company name change, though. I'm just so happy to have my best friend by my side.